Hey, what's up, Gomez Gang? Today we're going to talk about a very quick do not question that we had this week. Has a lot of parentheses in it, but it's not meant to scare you. We can definitely do this problem. Now, of course, there are a lot of different ways that we can do it. We can worry about our distribution. We can try and get rid of our coefficients. We can do some subtracting first. A lot of different ways, but most importantly, whichever way it is that you choose, you need to be able to check by plugging in your variable with the correct answer. So for this one, I'm going to start off simply by subtracting 8 from both sides. We'll start off there and we're left with 2 open parentheses, 1 minus 3 open parentheses, 4 minus x, close parentheses because these will cancel out, is equal to 4 minus 8, which is equal to negative 4. For this problem, I'm actually going to get started with distributing this 3, or as some might see it as a negative 3. So the most important part here is to understand that whatever I am multiplying this coefficient of 3 by, I have to subtract it. In other words, if I am doing 3 times 4, which was 12, I am subtracting that 12. Similarly, if I am multiplying this 3 times x, sure, I get to 3x that I am subtracting, but I'm also subtracting the value of negative 3x. And if I'm subtracting negative 3x, that is the equivalent of adding 3x. Here I'm still left with the 1, still in parentheses, multiplying by 2, and my right side of my equation has not changed. I can follow that up by combining like terms where I have a 1 and I have a negative 12. I'm left with negative 11 plus 3x, which is in parentheses, multiplied by 2 is again equal to negative 4. I can then distribute this 2, and I have 2 times negative 11, which is negative 22, plus 2 times 3x, which is 6x. Again, still equal to negative 4. I can add 22 to both sides. To cancel this out, I'm left with 6x is equal to 18. Divide both sides by 6. Whatever I do to one, I must do to the other. And I'm left where x is equal to 3. Now that's great and all, but you are not done. You also have to check. And if I check, wherever I see that 3, I am going to substitute. So it's 4 minus 3 inside that original parentheses, being multiplied by a coefficient of 3, and then subtracting from a 1. This all needs to be done to make sure that we are good to go. Do not forget the plus 8. Got to make sure that you are paying close attention to detail. Great. So 4 minus 3 is, of course, 1. 1 times 3 is equal to 3. So we have 1 minus 3, which is equal to negative 2. Negative 2 is everything that's in the parentheses once it's simplified. The rest of the equation remains the same. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, plus 8 should get me to 4. And when you do the math, 4 is equal to 4, so it does check out. I know my answer of 3 is correct. However, that is not the only way that I can do it. I do not have to worry about these distributions first. I can get rid of these coefficients first as well. In a different problem, I will show you. Great. Now over here, we can definitely do the subtracting 8 again if we'd like to. We can also divide by 2 if we'd like to. There's a lot of different ways that we can go about this, of course. We can keep it consistent and subtract the 8 because I do think that it is a very easy way to start. We have 2 open parentheses, 1 minus 3 open parentheses, 4 minus x, close parentheses, is equal to negative 4. What I'm going to try and do here is get rid of this 2 that is multiplying everything inside of the parentheses. How can I get rid of that coefficient? I must divide both sides, not just the 2, but the entire side, by 2. I'm left with 1 minus 3 parentheses 4 minus x, close parentheses, is equal to negative 2. A negative divided by a negative, a negative divided by a positive is going to remain a negative. So negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Here I can definitely subtract 1, which is an interesting way of going about it. And I'm left with negative 3 parentheses 4 minus x, close parentheses, is equal to negative 3. I can follow that up by doing some distribution where negative 12 plus 3x. Now, a lot of people are going to get confused here and not understand why it is plus 3x. So I'm going to erase it real quick and show you the different methods that you can see this. Firstly, you can see this as subtracting, so bringing down that subtraction sign, and doing negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x. Of course, subtracting a negative 3x is the same thing as adding a 3x. So that's one way you can view it. Additionally, you can view this negative 3 that's being distributed to this negative x. And negative 3 times negative x is simply 3x. I can follow that up by adding 12 to both sides to try and isolate this x. I'm left with 3x on this side because the 12s will cancel out, is equal to negative 3 plus 12, which is 9. Once I get x by itself by dividing by 3 on both sides, by doing the inverse, I'm left with x is equal to 3, yet another way. Here we are getting rid of the coefficients first, which is completely different than what we did in the last problem. I hope that helped.